You guys, please watch 30 Minutes with CDP on Instagram Live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and on Friday nights on Facebook Live. You guys, what's not to love about this guy? He's Canadian. He's somewhat funny, eh? I mean, Canadians are truly the best people, so it feels like just such a nice relief to be able to spend 30 uninterrupted minutes with your boy Chris. Tune in. You'd be crazy not to. And Wednesdays and Friday nights, now you have something to do. Instagram Wednesdays, Friday night, Facebook Live, 8 p.m. Be there or be square.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to 30 Minutes Live with CDP. Thanks for all coming on again today. And just give me one moment and I will bring my guest on, Karys Belger, general assignment reporter from WGR Channel 2 in Buffalo, was kind enough to give me some of her time today to come on and talk about her career in broadcasting and media. And I really appreciate it. So just give me a minute, guys, and I will bring Karys on in just 1 second. Anyways, I hope you all had a great day, and I look forward to talking to Karys. So just 1 second, guys. I'm going to bring her on. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah, I always check with my guests because sometimes, as you know, with television, things sometimes don't always go smoothly.
Oh, yes. It's live television. You never know what's going to happen. I'm so used to just freewheeling it.
So how was your day? Had you a busy day?
A busy day. Went to work this morning, and then I edited something for the afternoon show, or I guess the evening show, early evening show now. And then I went to the gym, and then I came back and got ready for this. So.
Oh, that's all right. Like I said, I slept most of the day because I'm on midnights right now on my other job. So this worked out good. Anyways, at least the weather's nice. I don't know how it is in Buffalo, but it's about 74 here and sunny.
No, it's pretty warm, and I'm happy about it because last week we had that like chill, and I was like, what is this? What over the weekend rather, this past weekend? I'm like, what is this chill? Why is it cold? Is it not almost summer? What's going on?
I've seen just a couple years ago, and even in the past, we had snow in the middle of May here.
Oh my gosh, you.
Yeah, so I like it. I like it. I'm a winter guy. I kind of like the 4 seasons here.
I'm a Southern belle. I like my winters mild and infrequent. Sorry.
I was gonna say I haven't even been to Florida yet, so I'm hoping maybe one day I'll be able to go. So we're still gonna have to wait and see what happens with the Canadian-U.S. land border. I think it's probably still gonna be I think end of July or August.
Oh, really? I'm hoping everything is going good. I've got a wedding in July. I'm flying out to Napa for, so fingers crossed everything's good.
Definitely. Like I said, it's been a long last year and a half with what was going on with COVID.
Oh, gosh. I'm so ready for a vacation. Please, someone put me on a plane and take me somewhere.
Definitely, yeah. Like I said, the last time I was over in your area was February 5th, 2020, and even then, the customs guys were asking me like 20 questions about the virus and that, and I'm like, and I was thinking maybe they should have even closed the border before they did last March.
Well, I remember doing a story on COVID right before Valentine's Day last year. Right before February 14th. So I remember thinking, oh, it's this thing. And it was really about how, there were students who were taking the bar and they were coming from other countries to take the bar, but they canceled because of the virus. There had been an outbreak in their country. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, okay, this is just one story, what have you. Ooh, I was wrong. So wrong.
Yes, so I just recently got my first shot, so I won't get my second shot until probably September. So the vaccine here, they don't have as much as you guys. Like, we don't make our own vaccine, so Canada's had to export it and buy it from other countries. So like I said, hopefully I will get my second shot before September, but we'll see what happens.
Do you mind if I ask which shot you got?
Pfizer.
Pfizer friends, yes!
Yes, that's the one I wanted. The AstraZeneca one I did not want to touch. So the Pfizer one I had no issues with.
Oh, that's good. No symptoms? Nothing? Not even tired?
Sore arm, but it wasn't even that big of a deal. It was just like a bruise for a day, but not even a big deal.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. That's good.
Yes.
Whew,
Yeah.
that shot took me out.
Oh, did it? I guess it affects everybody differently.
It did. What was my second dose? My second dose, I took a day off from work as a precaution. Thank goodness I did, because I was dizzy. I couldn't even sit up straight. I wanted to vomit. It was really bad. But the next day, it was like nothing.
Yeah. I was going to say, so they gave you Pfizer for both shots then?
Pfizer for both, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a 3-week waiting period. Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, Canada in the future is going to, hopefully they'll be able to make their own vaccine because, like I said, when you rely on other countries, they got to look after their countries before they can look after each. I don't think the world was basically prepared for this pandemic.
Not at all. And it's been quite a wild ride. And when I think about just all the lives that have been impacted, it's just crazy. Like,
yes.
I never would have thought I'd live through anything like this. At least not so early in my career. You know, this guy's coming here, like, you see, like, seasoned vets covering, like, years in. And here I am doing this. 4 years in. Oh, no, 3 years in.
Wow. I was going to say, I was going to ask you, are you a baseball fan, sports fan, or not really?
I am a sports fan. I am a loyal Washington sports fan. I am loyal to the soil.
Oh, really? So the Washington Football Club. I'm an Eagles fan, so I guess we're going to have a rivalry, man. I like that one guy you have on your defense end, Chase Young from Ohio State.
Chase, yes.
Yes, and Ron Rivera is a good head coach. I think you guys are going to even be better than you were last year. I think the whole NFC East is going to be improved this year.
Yes, I have all the faith in the world in Ron. Thankfully, he's in remission. Because as soon as I heard about the cancer diagnosis, I was like, "Oh goodness, our season's over." Ron needs to focus on his health. Like, don't worry about this game thing. Get better. But he's in remission, and we've got Chase, as you mentioned. So I'm very, very hopeful and optimistic for the season.
I was going to say, I was kind of disappointed they didn't try to keep Alex Smith for another year, but I guess they decided to move on from him. I thought they could have, but I don't know if he wanted to stay as a backup or a third string quarterback, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too. It was like, does he really want to be third string or a backup? Probably not. I mean, who knows? Who knows what kind of discussions were going on in that office. But,
so,
yeah.
So you're a Washington sports fan, so you like the Capitals, too?
I am not necessarily a hockey fan. I was happy for them when they won the Stanley Cup, but that's about it. Like, I go for the game. I've gone to a game just for the experience, but I'm not going to lie, I'm not a huge hockey person.
Yeah. I was going to say your Wizards are season's on the line tonight. They play the Sixers in Philadelphia.
Yes, they do. Ooh.
And the pressure's on Philadelphia because Joe Embiid is going to be out for Game 5.
Yes.
So the Wizards can win tonight. They force a Game 6 and put the heat on the Sixers more.
I know. I'm really. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm literally like, I have you. If you could see my apartment, you would see the Wizards jersey that's currently like in front of like a little on my prayer wall. Like, come on, guys, let's get this.
I was gonna say. The team, I'm a Pistons fan, but we didn't make the Detroit Pistons didn't make the playoffs again, so we're in a rebuild. I sort of got my heart with the New York Knicks, but I think the Knicks are in trouble against the Atlanta Hawks. They're down 3-1.
Definitely. As soon as I saw that matchup, I was like, "Ooh, but the Hawks, they've been pretty decent. So who knows?"
I predict
toss up though. If there's anything I've learned from sports, every time, and I learned this after I was pleasantly surprised that the Nationals won the World Series, and I learned this after watching formerly the Redskins, now the Washington football team, like get so close and fail over the years. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. I kind of go in now with no expectations. I like really hope, but I'm also kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, as a sports fan, I'm in my late 40s. I've mellowed out because I used to really, every game of all my sports teams, I would take it really hard if they lose. And now it's like, I still enjoy it and I love it, but I don't take it as hard as I used to when I was in my 20s.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, the Washington football team has been mediocre for most of my adolescence. Like, they got good around the time I went to college. So it's like, okay, all right, let's see. It's like the Eagles have been decent. I mean, y'all, and then a few years ago, y'all had that miracle Super Bowl win. I was like, wait a minute.
Well, it was supposed to be a start of a.
Well, dice.
It was supposed to be start of a dynasty, but it just shows you how hard it is to get to the top and then stay on top. That's as much as everybody hates the New England Patriots. What the Patriots did for 20 years is, I don't think that'll ever be done again in the NFL.
Well, there was that little snafu with the ball and the deflating.
Yeah, but like I said, we beat them in Super Bowl 52. But it's just, yes, it's just amazing how fast time goes, because that was 3 years ago, and now we're in a rebuild. And I do like our young quarterback Jalen Hurts, and we did get Devontae Smith, the wide receiver, number 6, or not number 6, but number 10 overall, because we traded with Dallas. Yeah. Dallas actually helped us out. But by the way, I think we have one thing in common: Dallas sucks. So we both don't.
Can't stand it. Well, here's the funny thing about my family. Everyone is a Washington sports fan except for 3 people. Okay, my granddad, my cousin, and my uncle. Like, they're the 3 Cowboys fans, but everyone else in the family is a Washington fan. So it's like we like to like play pranks on them. So like Christmas comes along, we wrap their gifts in Redskins wrapping paper. And things like that. So it's very contentious in our house, especially when the Cowboys and Washington match up, because the Belgers, well, I wouldn't even say house divided, because it's just 3 people, but still can't stand them.
I was going to say, speaking of baseball, the Blue Jays are going to be playing their home games in Buffalo for at least a month. I think it's going to be the rest of the year. Are you going to try to go to some games down at Salem Field?
I was thinking about it, but I mean, my Nats aren't going to be here. All the Nats games are going to be in D.C., so I might see if I can. Now that I'm vaccinated, my mother is vaccinated, and she's going to let me into the house, because that was the contingency. You can't come home until we're both vaccinated. I might try and go home and catch a game, because I'm just trying to catch Juan Soto. That's really all it is.
Well, and I'm a Tigers fan, and one of our former pitchers is with you guys, Matt Shacer. Yes, and I wish that we had kept him, but I guess he wanted more money than the Tigers wanted to pay him. But he's going to be in the Hall of Fame when his career's done.
Oh, I absolutely believe it. I was actually kind of surprised we managed to get him. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I see what we're doing here. All right, I'm here for it.
But it's still hard to believe the franchise used to be the Montreal Expos too, because they moved to Washington in 2005, I believe. Yeah, 2005.
Yeah, it was 2005. It was, I think, it was 2 years. Well, my father passed in 2007, so I know it was before he died, and we were talking about going to a game. So it definitely had to be around there, early aughts. It was weird. But yeah, because I grew up my whole life without a baseball team. I refuse to root for the Orioles. I will never root for a Baltimore team. I'm a DC person through and through. And so I grew up most of my life with no baseball team. And then the Nats came. Yep. So I was like, okay, what's this?
I'm hoping Montreal in the future gets a team back. I really think if Montreal I think Washington supports the team well, but Montreal has such a long baseball history. I hope once they get a new stadium and that, they can get a team again. Well, I'd like to see Tampa Bay out of that. Tampa Bay, to me, should be out of there. To me, Florida, I think, should only have one team. Like the Florida Marlins, what is it? Miami Marlins. I keep calling them the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins. But the Tampa Bay Rays, they're a good organization. They seem to win every year, but they play in a bad stadium and they don't have much fan support. And I don't know if it's the stadium or it's just there's a lack of interest in the Rays down in Tampa Bay, because there's a lot of spring training teams that play down there.
When I was in Florida, when I was in Fort Myers, I was which is like an hour and some change south from Tampa. I remember there wasn't really a lot of excitement that I could recall for Tampa Bay. I remember there was a lot of excitement when the Minnesota Twins would come down for spring training, and people would literally line up around the block when the Red Sox would come. But I don't remember ever seeing any sort of excitement or frenzy for Tampa. So maybe it is what you're saying. There might not be the support there. I'm sure Montreal would love to have a team.
Definitely. I haven't been to a sporting event now in not quite 2 years, but I'm hoping maybe at some point by the end of this year to be able to go to a hockey or a sporting event again. And I do camera work with Rogers TV here in Ontario. And I'm still new at the camera work, but I love being a part of a hockey broadcast. And it's just amazing how much work there is in setting up and tearing down in a broadcast.
Yeah. I really hope that you get a chance to do that. I really hope everyone gets a chance to do all those things that were put on hold. I know myself, like, I'm trying to get to a soccer game. Especially like the Washington Spirit, the women's soccer team, those women are beasts. And I really, really want to see them play live, like truly. And that was actually on my list of things to do last year. So who knows? But.
Do you follow, I'm not a big soccer fan, but do you follow the MSL as well?
No, because the men's team isn't as good.
Okay.
I mean, I hate to say it, it's true. You know, I used to, but then I remember when I was younger, I used to play soccer, and my dad was all about, you know, like inspiring me. So he would put on like women's athletes all the time. When he tried to get me into playing sports, it never worked out. I went back to ballet, called it a day. But he, you know, now I'm older and I'm still all about supporting female athletes because I just feel like in general they don't get their credit. And at least from the Spirit, they year after year send players to the women's national team, which has won, I think, 5 World Cups now. So I'm all about supporting the Spirit. I mean, the Washington football team, the Washington soccer football club is great, but I mean, women are better. To me.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, I think your team is in Buffalo this year to play the Bills.
Yes, they are.
Are you going to be going to that game any chance?
I don't know, because I don't like cold, as we've established.
Oh, come on. It's good. It's good. You just warm for it. Just warm.
I don't want to have to burrow into a cocoon in order to enjoy seeing my team play. Like a few layers, sure. But I want to be able to like move, like, yeah, and I can't do that if I've got like, you know, this whole sleeve and like layers underneath. It's just really intense. I think I'll just stay inside where it's warm. I'll make like some football themed snacks for myself and my friends, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, I've been to some games there at I keep calling it Ralph Wilson Stadium. Now I guess it's Highland Stadium. I guess they changed the name of it again. Highmark. Yeah. I've been to games there in November and December where it's been quite cold and windy and it's been miserable, and it's like, and the football games weren't that great. If the football games were really good, it wouldn't be so bad. But when the games aren't so good, this is when the Bills weren't so good. It would be a long, long day in bad weather.
See, I'm not about that life. I will give you Buffalo fans that you all will go hard for your team in all seasons, and I respect it. Not me. I got you over here. Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay for time? Is there a time, like time-wise? You okay?
I'm all right. I'm good. So we're great. It's only
okay. I always ask my guests anyways, just to make sure. So I'm just gonna start asking you some questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
And how do you pronounce your first name? Is it Karys?
It is Karys, yes.
Karys. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I always like to try to get my guest names right, so I always want to make sure.
That is very important. I appreciate that. You always want to get people's names right in an interview, no matter what.
Definitely, yeah. And some of these play-by-play guys, they really have to make sure because some of these athletes' names they're hard to pronounce. Some of them can be, so you really have to do your homework on that.
I know. It's all part of the job. You have to just make sure that you research. I think personally, if I don't know, I will ask somebody, like, is it Ruiz? Is it Ruiz? Someone please let me know so I don't jack it up on air. And then I've started doing this thing now where when I interview someone, I will say their name repeatedly when I address them so I get used to hearing it and saying it. So then it becomes second nature by the time I have to go on air or track my package.
Definitely. It's just amazing the technology nowadays. It seems like we're just like 2 minutes from each other talking like this. It's just amazing with all the technology out here.
And I wonder if people really realize how quickly we've come to rely on it. I mean, we rely on technology anyway, but it really became apparent in the pandemic that, you know, technology was what we needed and how important it was. And I don't know if we weren't so adaptable with technology, I don't know how our jobs would have kept going. to be honest.
Yeah, I just wish we had this years ago, because when I was in my 20s and 30s, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a career. And then I recently had a taste of broadcasting with Rogers TV and a local basketball team here. And then a year ago, I started my podcast, and I really, really enjoyed doing this. And I want to try to get into radio with this as well.
Oh, well then,
Yes.
I'm happy to help you practice.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's just
in their dreams. Yes, for that.
And I've had a lot of guests come on lately, which is great. The Buffalo market's been really good too. I had one of your coworkers on last night too, Kelly Dudzik.
Kelly,
Yes.
seen her in a year, like in person, but she's wonderful. She's a wonderful.
Great. Everybody in your profession, not just from Buffalo, has been great with me, and I really appreciate it. Because, like I said, I'm in my late 40s, but this is something I want to do, and I really enjoy talking to people and asking questions and learning new stuff all the time.
Hey, I go for it whenever you can. I think, like, I read somewhere, like, Vera Wang didn't start designing wedding dresses until she was in her 30s or something like that.
Yes.
I think Ava DuVernay was 31 before she picked up a camera for the first time, and look at her now. So anything can happen. I always say that. It's never too late. And I don't like to delve too deep into politics, but if we're talking, like, dreams deferred, like, how many times did the president run for president before he was elected? So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. And I was going to say, one of my guests in a couple of weeks, his name's Marty Ross. He's an 80-year-old comedian.
Oh, really?
He became a comedian. He was on America's Got Talent a few years ago, but he decided later on in life that he wanted to be a comedian, and now he's going to be on my podcast on June 11th.
Oh, that's awesome.
So hopefully you'll be able to check him out. He's a really nice man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did listen to Kelly's episode, and I did listen to Pete. I know you had Pete on and listened to their episodes too.
Yes.
So,
and the great thing about this too is I can do it live on 3 platforms, and then I can download the audio onto Apple, Google, and all that other stuff. So I'm slowly building my my audience. I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm just very lucky I got this platform.
No, hey, everyone has to start somewhere. And you know what? The fact that you are figuring out streaming on 3 different platforms at once, that's already a huge leap. I know people in the business who can't even figure that out. So kudos to you, okay?
And I didn't even know what Wi-Fi was a few years ago. I just got Wi-Fi in my house in 2015. So I've only had it 6 years now.
How are you living? That's so terrible. That's such a millennial thing to say.
Don't worry about it. I had internet, but I didn't have the Wi-Fi. But getting the Wi-Fi, and then I have a pod thing that helps increase the Wi-Fi signal. So it's been great too. Yeah. So like I said, technology has been great, especially this past year and a half.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Technology has saved so many of us, honestly.
Definitely. Okay. My first question I was going to ask you, Karys, is can you just tell my audience just a little bit about yourself, and when did you decide you wanted to pursue a career in broadcasting and media?
Well, I am a morning show reporter. I do the morning daybreak show, thus the early bedtime, because I had to get into work by 3:30 a.m. And I cover literally everything. If there is a thing, I have covered it. I decided at a young age, actually, that I wanted to get into journalism. I want to say, I'm trying to think, because a newsworthy event is what this is ultimately tied to. Because 9/11 happened, and I'm from the D.C. area originally, so of course the Pentagon and all of that. My mom worked a few blocks away from the Capitol building. That was an intended target. So growing up around that, growing up around like political figures, growing up around the nation's capital. And then the DC Beltway sniper attacks were going on right after that. And then there was the anthrax, and there was everything you could think of going on within a few short years of between the ages of 7 and 9. And I really just had the news on all the time. My parents had the news on all the time. And I just thought it was so interesting that there were these people who had the job of telling us what was going on. And then I remember, my mother hates this story. I remember when Operation Iraqi Freedom, I can't remember the technical term off the top of my head, but the conflict in the Middle East, let's start there. Let's call it that. I remember when American troops first were sent to the Middle East and seeing all the conflict reporters. And I remember, like, one of the images I remember seeing was of, like, Christiana Manpour like in this hot zone with this vest on, like in the hot sun, talking about like all the things that these soldiers are seeing, you know, what the conflict is like, how these, you know, there are civilians involved. And I was just fascinated. And I remember thinking, I want to do that. I want to be Cristiana Amanpour. And I think I was probably like around 8 or 9 when that happened. And so from there, it's just been a constant thing. Like, how would I get there? How would I figure it out? I didn't necessarily study journalism at first. I actually studied English Lit because Spelman does not have a journalism program. Well, let me back up a bit. In high school, I did the morning announcements. They were broadcast on a television screen. We called it the Wildcat Morning Report. How fitting that I did the morning announcements and here I am on the morning show. I guess I've always just been destined to be a morning show reporter. And then I went to college. They didn't have a journalism major. So for me, it was, you know, writing, figuring out like journalistic writing. So I would write for Spelman's newspaper. Spelman's an all-girls school, so we had the men's college next door, Morehouse College. I wrote for the Maroon Tiger, their newspaper. We had like a online blog platform on campus too. I would write for that. And I minored in theater, so obviously I'm very comfortable talking in front of crowds. that certainly came in handy, thanks to my theater professor. And then I got my master's degree from Northwestern. I went to Northwestern for their graduate program. It was like a 1-year intensive program. I spent a quarter in D.C. and actually that first quarter was when the 45 was inaugurated. So literally from like January 20th, 2017 until I think it was July is when I graduated. I was in D.C. on the ground covering all of things. I had a press pass, a congressional press pass, so I was going in and out with congressmen, senators, everybody, right alongside all like, you know, the big name like network reporters. And here I am, just this college student trying to like cut my teeth. And I loved it. It was really exciting. And then after that, it was time to apply for jobs, you know, about to graduate. And my mom was like, cool, you have to have a job when you graduate, just so you know. So while I was also doing that, I was also applying for jobs. My first reel came out of grad school, and that's what I used to apply for gigs. Got my first job in Fort Myers, Florida. Did that for a year, and then I came to Buffalo. And so, snow boots, real quick. Okay.
You just answered my next 2 questions about your first job in that and where you went to school. Now, did you have a mentor or mentors when you were first getting into this?
Yes, I still have my mentor, still have her. She's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Joey Chen of CBS, CNN, and Al Jazeera fame, for the record. She's amazing. She's kind of like a second mom, and weeks could go by. I send her a random text or phone call, and she's just there. She has so much insight for me. Love her to death. OMG. If you're watching, hi. and I have been able to pick up a few other mentors along the way too. Some of my older Spelman sisters who are also in the business have helped me. Darla Miles, who works in New York for ABC, the NBC station in New York City. And, excuse me, just got a burp there. DeMarco Morgan, who works for CBS in LA. He's been amazing. He was actually a professor at Morehouse when I was a student. I didn't get to take his class, but we recently connected, and he's been very invaluable as well. So I have a great group of mentors. They're wonderful. And of course, the people I work with have poured into me too. I have, Claudine, and I have Heather Lee, and I have so many amazing coworkers who are seasoned vets in this business, who will not hesitate to give me pointers, who will not hesitate to help me out, help me find a source, help me shape a story. And I feel like I've really grown here, especially with having their input on my work. So it's great.
So you had a lot of, everybody's stories are not all the same, but they're fairly similar about with getting mentors when they're younger and starting out at a young age. Yes.
And it's honestly, I didn't necessarily have broadcast mentors. All the people I knew in the business at first worked in newspaper, which was still helpful because that style, that very descriptive writing is very useful in broadcast. You just got to condense it a bit, but it's still very useful to have that understanding. And it will serve you well no matter what. I say that now, because even now when I get stuck, I just go back to the basics. Like, back to basics. Okay, what did you learn? And it helps me every time.
Okay. Did you ever do any radio at all, or has it mostly been television so far?
Mostly television. I think the only time I've done radio was in college. I was in a scholarship program, a community-based service scholarship program, and there was this partnership with the Joseph and Evelyn Lowry Foundation. Joseph and Evelyn Lowry, renowned, like amazing civil rights activists. They both passed on, but I got to meet Joseph Lowry when I was at Spelman, and through the foundation they would host this regular radio broadcast to raise awareness about the dangers of domestic violence situations. So I did one broadcast for them while I was at Spelman, using the radio equipment at the nearby school, Clark Atlanta, because they had a full setup. So that was the only time I've ever gone into radio. That's about it.
Okay, I thought I'd ask you anyways, because I know there's a little bit of a difference between radio and television, especially when you're on live TV. You got to do your segments a lot quicker than on radio.
Yes, it's very quick. You blink and it's over. Although there are moments where it does feel like I'm in there for a minute. Breaking news is like that, or like developing news, like snowstorms, prime example, snowstorms. And they're like, okay, you've got a minute 15. I have my producer in my ear. You got a minute 15 to fill. And I'll feel like I've been on for 5 minutes before I get a rap in my ear. Like, okay, good, because I was running out of things to say anyway.
I've also learned too, you got to sometimes ad-lib as well, because sometimes things happen that you don't count on. So you always, with my podcast or even on radio, I don't know about TV as much. Is there a lot of ad-libbing in TV or not really?
There is for me. Another mentor of mine, very thankful to have her in my life, Cheryl Jackson. She was one of my professors at Spelman, not Spelman, at Northwestern. Cheryl always used to tell me, like, don't try and memorize a script. Just put down like the big bullet points, the points that you have to get across. And from there, the details will just come. And I think about that all the time. And she always used to say, in a live breaking news, developing news situation, just tell people what you see. If you don't see it, don't talk about it unless it's really important, or like you had the phone call with the official and you can give that information. So if you're out there and all you see is snow for miles and you really can't even see in front of your hand, let people know that so they understand how dangerous it is out here. She also would be like, I understand it's completely contradictory to have you out in the snow telling people don't drive and be out in the snow, but that's besides the point. Every reporter has to do it. Just make sure you describe what you see.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
My next question for you, Karys, is how did you come about working as a reporter for WGR Channel 2 in Buffalo, and how much of an adjustment was it coming from Fort Myers, Florida?
I just applied. I was coming to the end of my contract. I wanted to see what other options were out there. I was actually calling all my mentors in between. I was like, no, Joey, what am I going to do? I don't know. They're like, you're fine. You're young. Just apply. See what's out there. What happens, happens. Just take a chill pill. I'm very much a word for it. I don't know how to calm down most days. So I was just applying for jobs. This job happened to be open, and my news director, actually within 2 weeks, he messaged me back saying he was interested. We talked over the phone, and then I came up for a visit. We met in person, my news director and I. We liked, what was going on. He thought I would be a good fit. I thought I would be a good fit, and then here I am. The biggest adjustment I would definitely have to say is the weather. I think the lowest the temperature when I was in Florida ever dipped was like 40. And, I've multiple times been out live and it's 1 degree and sunny. What is that? And I would also say just the culture in Buffalo is very different. People are it's very much like a small town. It's a city, but it's a small town here. Mm-hmm. Now, Fort Myers was not like that. So I very much appreciate that. It certainly has made gathering information, getting to know people, doing stories easier, because people, for the most part, are pretty open when you approach them. And I also was not prepared for how attached people get to news people here. Or maybe it's just me. I'm not used to people recognizing me. But the number of times people have been like, "Oh my God, I love watching you every morning. My daughter and I wake up with you and drink coffee together." I was just like, "Oh, thank you." That I'm not used to. I'm not used to how much people really get attached and engaged with they're news people. And not that I don't appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Every time someone has come up to me and told me they appreciate what I do, I really, really do love it. It reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I'm also just still not used to it because I'm like, I'm just here, just doing my job.
I was gonna say, as you know, Buffalo is known for chicken wings. Are you a fan of chicken wings or no?
I like chicken wings, but I'm gonna get some haters here on your podcast. I like ranch.
Well, that's okay. I like blue cheese. But ranch is okay. That's okay. Yeah, when I go over to Buffalo, I always like to go to Duff's Wings, Duff's Famous Wings.
I'm a fan of Gabriel's Gate. I really liked the wing. Those were the first wings I ever had in Buffalo. To me, they're the best. But yes, I love Gabriel's Gate. And every time they did look at me crazy when I asked for ranch dressing. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Everybody, including me, they like blue cheese. But I was gonna say, where's that? Like, I normally go over to Niagara Falls, New York, or Amherst. Is it in Buffalo, or in the north or the south town?
It is. It's in Allentown. It's not. There's a restaurant called Town. It's a Greek restaurant. It's like right across the street from there. Like, well, down a few and then across the street. It's really cool. It's got these big carved wooden figures in front. It's really great. Nice little small little place.
Yeah, I miss coming to the States. Especially, I go over to Bob Evans in the morning. I love their blueberry pancakes with their sausage and orange juice, and it's like, oh my god, because we don't have Bob Evans over here, and it's like, so I'm hoping eventually I'll be able to come back again this summer in the fall and have my Bob Evans and have my chicken wings with a nice cold beer.
See, I haven't really eaten out. I mean, obviously because of the pandemic, but even before then, I wasn't eating out as much. I kind of do miss the atmosphere of being in a restaurant, so I might have to find a time to go out because I'm all about like healthy living and like eating organic and all other stuff. I cook almost everything I eat. There's barely a thing that passes my mouth that does not. I didn't cook myself because I'm just very much like careful and conscious about my health. So I rarely eat out as it is. And now I'm kind of like, let's go out to eat. Let's go get some cocktails. Let's go have some time.
Yeah, because over in the States, you guys have so much choice, and it's like, and when you go to the restaurants, they feed you well. So Kelly was telling me her and her husband kind of rather walk when they go out for dinner because they have so much food and dessert. They need to walk that off.
I mean, look, I did have to go to the gym before I came here because, I'm trying to get that healthy routine in now. Because I'm definitely a clean plate club person, no matter what. Even if I portion control, I know what it is. I know I'm supposed to follow it. Forget it. I'm eating out. I'm going to eat out. I'm going to enjoy the calories, and I'm just going to punish myself in the gym the next day. And especially in Buffalo, they love to feed you. And I'm just like, oh, wow, this is a lot, even by my standards.
Yeah, so I'm still battling my weight. There's times where I can lose 20, 30 pounds, and then it comes back on. So for me, I go hiking every day for about an hour and a half. So, and I do a lot of walking in my other job. But for me, I just have to do a little bit better job with sugar and salts and stuff like that. So I probably could stand to lose another 20 pounds.
I feel like I flatlined. I thought I was doing well. I find that the trick for me is to keep my body guessing. Like, I can't get too used to a workout. So one day I'll do like intense cardio. The next day I'll go on a hike to like the Whirlpool Gorge or something. The next day I will, go arms and go crazy and go ham. So I find that the more, if I keep mixing it up, I keep that consistency going for me. But it is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes. As of this October, it'll be 4 years since I've had chocolate. I gave up chocolate almost 4 years ago as of October.
You are a saint. I could never, if I had to give up chocolate, I would hurt somebody. I fast for Lent every year, and in that fast I give up sugar, so of course no chocolate. Those 40 days, I'm a nightmare. People don't like to be around me. They're like, I need you to eat a Hershey. Don't come near me, eat a Hershey. Like, woo. Yeah. And as on Easter, like midnight, Easter Sunday, I'm in the freezer going for the Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. Like, I have to have some chocolate.
Yeah, I miss cookies too. I haven't had cookies in almost 4 years. And those Girl Scout cookies, I used to eat a box in like a half an hour. So I've just decided For me, I have to stay away from that stuff because I can't stop myself with chocolate and cookies and stuff like that. So
not even the Girl Scouts. I feel like Girl Scouts, especially because they're seasonal, that's something you can indulge in, you know?
maybe one day I'll do it again. It's just but I have to admit it's hard giving up. I gave up ice cream, chocolate, cookies, muffins, bagel, cream cheese. So I've given up a lot of stuff, but like I said, it's hard still because there's so much food out there with sugar and salt in it too.
Yes, it's so hard. Whenever I do it's the Daniel fast. It's the fast I do for Lent, and like that's no caffeine, no alcohol, no meat, no sugar, no animal products of any kind, no leavened bread, nothing processed, and you basically can eat like legumes, fruits, veggies, drink water. That's it. And I mean, whenever I do it, my body just goes because it's, basically 40 days I don't consume anything. But it's so hard because I want to, even when I try to grab something, I have to look at every ingredient to make sure it doesn't have what's quote unquote king's meat or what it's how it's referred to in scripture, but like all that other stuff. And it is so hard because so much of our food has that stuff in it, and it's so hard to avoid it. And even the quote unquote healthy stuff, still, like, it could be high in sodium, and so it's still not even that good for you. It's very difficult. It's a commitment. I commend you for giving that up for over years, because 40 days is a struggle for me.
I still have a long ways to go, but just give me 1 second. Sorry, I just forgot to plug my laptop in. I apologize. I just don't want to try it. Wow.
I understand. You just reminded me. Let me make sure I still have battery out here, okay?
Yeah. I'm usually prepared, but I forgot. Sometimes that happens, and I just didn't want my laptop going poof, and then you're like, oh, geez, the interview's over. So
no, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'll have more questions for you. Before I do that.
Oh, yeah, questions.
Can I just? Oh, is it okay if I just show a little bit of your work before I ask you a couple more questions?
Sure. No problem.
Is it okay? I do this with all my guests. So
okay.
I just, just
is it
1
from
second.
Today? I have a question. Is it from today? Because today was rough.
No,
okay.
no.
Go ahead. Anything but from today.
Today, okay. No worries. No worries.
Right, well, inside Buffalo's tallest building, you're going to find the first business to call it home in years.
Can you hear it okay?
43 North. The organization is currently helping more than 50 startup companies here in Buffalo connect with potential employees.
And at a job fair today, the focus has been the expanding technology field here in Western New York. 2 on Your Side's Karys Belger was there, and she has more on how you can get a shot at working for these companies. Kara?
Yeah, hi there, Scott and Mary Alice. Things are starting to wind down here just a little bit, but earlier there were 50 startup companies trying to fill around 400 jobs. And I've learned that even though there was a large emphasis on tech, employers were really looking for people with a variety of skills to help build their companies from the ground up. There's a large focus on things like engineering and information technology, but some of the employers here say they're hoping to hire people with backgrounds in things like marketing and sales. 43 North helped put this event together, and the company's president told me new and unique positions are constantly being created in the area.
I mean, it continues to be this evolving ecosystem, and it's hard to predict who 43 North will attract next year into our portfolio, but I mean, it continues to be a very diverse set of skills that we need to continue to evolve our blossoming, I like to say, ecosystem here in Buffalo.
I've also learned that there are more companies that are not here tonight that have positions they're looking to fill. To help connect job seekers with those employers, 43 North launched a new online platform today called Forge Buffalo. At Riverworks, I'm Karys Belger, Channel 2 News.
Thank
you,
much
Karys.
going on right now.
It's so encouraging because for so many years we had a brain drain, and so many of our college graduates.
I literally do not remember that story.
Wow.
Like, I know this because I just turn so many a day. Like, there are times when I have turned 3 stories a day.
Dang.
I literally do not remember that at all.
I was just trying to pick something that was positive because I know sometimes your stories can't always be positive or happy. So I was just trying to pick something that was kind of. So I always do this with my guests, try to pick out a story that they're doing or something, just for my audience as well. And I thought that was a nice little piece there.
No, that's great. I'm glad you were able to find something. I was literally looking at it and I was like, sensibly, I know that's me. I know I did that, but I don't remember.
Okay. Just a couple more questions for you, Karys. The next one I was going to ask you is, did anybody take you under their wing, mentor you when you first started WGR? I guess when you started there?
Oh, yes. I shouted them out earlier. Claudine and Heather Lee.
Okay.
I worked dayside. I worked with Claudine. Claudine's amazing. She's like, I don't want to say a mom. She's like a fun aunt. And she just gives it to you straight. She gives you the best advice. If you're having a hard day, she checks on you. If you're having a great day, she applauds you. She's very much an example, not just of great work, but also of how you can supporting people, supporting your colleagues. So she's always so willing to support the people around her, and I appreciate that so much. And the same with Heather Lee. Heather Lee is so fun to work with. She's like very about the business, like get things done. But she like working with her when I worked with her on weekends. It was a fun time. She's the best sense of humor. OMG. And I just love hearing her stories about her cats, Sammy and Cheeto. Cheeto the Menace is his full name. And Cheeto, like every time she tells me about him, I'm like, what kind of cat is this? So yes, I loved it. And working with them, learning from them has been the highlight of my time here.
Okay. And overall, what's it been like overall being in Buffalo and the Western New York area, and your time with WGR? I believe you joined them in October of 2018.
Yes, October of 2018, and it's been an adventure. I remember like the first weekend I worked here, the second weekend I worked here, a major snowstorm, and me and my photographer, our car broke down.
Oh.
On the side of the road. I don't even remember where we are. We were in the South Towns, I do know that. But I just remember like being stranded on the side of the road in the car in the snow. And there's just been adventures like that the entire time. It's been challenging in one of the best ways because I've gotten to cover so many stories, but I've also found my voice as a journalist. I found my niche as a reporter, and thankfully I have a supportive team around me that allows me to tell the stories I'm really passionate about. Social justice and investigative reporting was my focus when I was at Northwestern. So telling those stories, having to delve into, how people of color are impacted by things specifically, how when we talk about, the LGBTQIA plus community and things facing them, and how that ties into things like Black Lives Matter, being able to have those passion projects has been so wonderful. And it's challenged me to constantly think outside the box, constantly push myself to do more, and also constantly just like speak up when I really feel passionately about a story that I feel like we should be covering. And that's all been just this up and down and up and down. There's no linear success. It's just been all over the place. But I have loved all the highs, all the lows, all of it. It's been wonderful, so far.
The question I was going to ask you, what's an average story time on your broadcast like? Is it about a minute and a half, a minute? Is there a certain amount of time?
It varies. I tend to be long-winded, and it drives my producers mad. Well, 1:45 is typically where I cap out. But sometimes it's shorter. It's like 1:15, 1:30. When we do longer form pieces, like for sweeps, which is our long, lots of resources, long form story times, those stories can run anywhere from like 2 to 6 minutes. It just depends on the story, and it depends on what time is allotted for it and what the topic is. And even then, we've even done that with stories that are not sweeps pieces, where it's just something that we felt was important for us to cover and really delve into. There was a story, it was technically a day turn I did about this officer who used a gendered slur against a woman on camera. A day turn, you would think 1:30, that wound up being a 2:10 package, because I just wanted to make sure, my assistant news director and I wanted to make sure that we got both sides so we could reach out to the police union and stuff like that. But that's the kind of things that take place when you're telling a story, so it all depends.
I was going to say, and it sounds like, and I even heard this from Kelly last night, your producers are fairly flexible with you guys.
Yes, they're very forgiving. I've definitely been like, hey guys, this story is 2:10. And I get this face, and they'll be like, Okay, we'll make it work. Thank you to my producers for like making it work every time. And I know I don't make it easy.
I have so much respect for producers. Like, I've only done hockey games so far as a camera operator, but they have to know every aspect of the job, and they're on a timeline, and they're like the quarterback of the whole production.
They really are. I have such respect for producers. And, I think it's really easy because we're the faces out there to look at reporters and see what we do, and anchors and see what we do, and think, oh, like they really do it. But like, it's really a whole thing. And not even just producers. It's the producers. It's our assignment desk. It's our directors. It's our floor directors. It's our, photographers. I honestly, photographers really do not get enough credit. Like, they really have to deal with a lot. They have to deal with the demands of management. They have to deal with the demands of talent. They have to lug all this equipment, make sure we are in a good location, a safe location, depending on what the story is, and also make sure we look good. Like, I shout out, every photographer I've ever worked with has been top tier, and both in Fort Myers and in Buffalo. I really think photographers do not get enough credit. And I always absolutely have to thank photogs, because I've learned from photogs too, especially since I shoot a lot of my own stuff, and they've given me great pointers. But when I work with them, it's really, truly a team effort, and they bring everything together. So shout out to producers, but also photographers.
I was going to say, it's really a team effort. You need everybody doing their job to make a broadcast or a newscast very successful.
Absolutely. It's a whole production. When I did theater, I literally think of it like I used to think of putting on a theater production. And there are so many pieces that help make a show. You have, like, just in theater, like in theater, you have your lighting director, you have your director, you have your sound person, you have the person backstage. I forget the technical term for this, but the person who basically makes sure the talent is where they need to be. You have the talent themselves. You have your sound mixer. You have all that. All of that also happens for a broadcast. You have your anchors, you have your reporters, you have your director, you have your producers, you have floor directors sometimes, you have engineers. All of those pieces make a show happen. No one can put together a newscast by themselves. I've seen them try. It doesn't work. So we really are a team. It is a huge team effort.
Okay. Next question I was asking. I only got a couple more questions for you, Karys. Okay. Favorite story interview you've done so far? I guess maybe with WGR in Buffalo, and some of your favorite personalities you've worked with so far in your career.
That's so hard. I don't know if I can pick a favorite story, because every story is just so unique. Every story has its own characters. Every story has its own thing that makes it special. I don't think I could pick one, and they've all kind of meant something to me. So it's like picking your favorite child or something.
That's true.
I'm trying to think, I can't pick a favorite story.
I should have rewarded it, just saying the most memorable story and interview you've done. I probably should have rewarded it that way.
Most memorable? I used to have an answer for this, but I've had so many since that one story that have just really been impactful. That's hard. And the thing is, I knew this question was coming, and I'm still not ready. Hold on. Let me think. Well, okay. I did do a story. This was a fun story. I did a story on Black American Sign Language. That was fun. And that came out of, like, a millennial, right? Social media. So I was watching TikTok videos about Black American Sign Language. Thankfully, we have the Rochester Institute of Technology right down the road, and they actually have an institute that focuses on helping preserve this language. And it was really amazing what I was able to learn from people. Dr. Joseph Hill is the professor I spoke with, and there's so much history there, and it's so unknown. I certainly didn't know about it until I saw it on TikTok, and then to hear that this is actually a real thing, and it's an evolving language, an evolving dialect, like anything else in the U.S. And its ties to American history are so deep, and we just don't hear about it. So that was that was fun. That's a favorite, not my whole favorite, but it's a favorite story. So I really enjoyed that one.
Okay. No, you helped me out too, because you know what, that question favorite. Yeah, you know what, I should have rewarded it. So I appreciate your help on that, because you're right. Sometimes it's hard to say you have a favorite story or a favorite personality you work with, and I think the key word is most memorable. I think I'll rephrase that too.
Yes. I will
Okay.
say it's always a good time when I get to do a festival. The people who put on festivals in Buffalo, they are some great characters. They are wonderful, amazing. Love those people. All of them. I will say that.
Okay, definitely. And then just get two more left to go. What is the hardest aspect of the industry, and what do you love about it the most? A little bit of both on that.
I would say, well, what I love the most is probably just the people I get to meet. I mean, I've gotten to meet reporters from all over. I've gotten to meet people, make friends from all over because of where I've worked and the jobs I've had and the connections I've made. I go to the NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists Conference every year, and I'm always meeting people and learning from people there. So definitely the meeting other people in the field who do a job has been great. I've made a lot of friends. And the hardest part is probably just that constant expectation, the changes in expectations on you. And I think it's kind of hard to find your voice. I know I feel like I found mine, thankfully. But for a while, I struggled. Like, who am I in this business? What stories will I be known for? What kind of impact will I have on my community with the work I've done? It's hard. It's hard to figure that out because you have the expectations of like your station, and you have the brand that's there, and you have, all the information. I mean, I love my mentors, but you have the advice your mentors give you, and you have to try and find a way to apply it to you, to who you are, because no one thing works for everybody uniformly. So that's probably one of the challenging things. It was for me, and now that I've done it, and I feel great about it, but that was definitely hard to figure out. Like, really, who am I in this business, and who will I be as I navigate the business? Was hard.
It just probably takes you a little bit of time too.
Yeah, especially when you're young and you get into it. I was like, my first job, I was 23.
Wow.
Could barely take care of myself. Okay, forget trying to change the world and hold people in power to account and all that other stuff. Like, can I pay my bills?
Okay, the next one's kind of a fun question for you. The next one is favorite music, artist, band. Do you have any hobbies? And is there a particular restaurant in the Buffalo area that you enjoy going to when you do eat out once in a while?
So my inner nerd's about to come out, y'all. Okay, so I don't know if you followed me on Twitter long, but it's a rather well-known fact that I'm a huge fan of BTS. Like, currently, before I jumped onto this, I was blasting Butter in my apartment. But I listened, as far as music, I listened to a little bit of everything, because as much as I love BTS, I also love Beyonce and Lizzo and Adele and John Legend. I listened to a little bit of everything. I also love old school jazz. I got that from my granddads, like Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, those artists. And then you throw in the K-pop for the fun. I would say hobbies. Other than working out, that's really my hobby right now. I used to love to read. There's a lot of books here. I've read almost all of them, but I haven't gotten a chance to get back into reading as much because things really picked up in the pandemic. While everyone else was slowing down, I was speeding up. So hopefully I get back to that hobby of reading more, because I do love reading. It's one of my first loves. That was really my introduction to the world around me, was through books. So I hope to get back to reading soon. Favorite restaurants in Buffalo? Gabriel's Gate for wings. I love Town for some good Greek food. Trying to think. Where else do I love to go? Oh, Fat Cats for some soul food. It's great. I don't go there often, but when I do, that's one of those places where I have to forget the calorie count. There's this restaurant. I actually don't know if it's still open. I haven't been in a while because I've just been in a hole cooking, like I mentioned. But the Rose Bar and Grill, I loved going there. And a lot of my friends in Buffalo would go there and and hang and chill. A lot of events I've been to were held there. A lot of, friends that have birthday parties there and stuff. So I loved going to the Rose. Portions were big. Food was good. Loved it. So those are a few of my favorite Buffalo places.
Okay. I just got 2 questions left for you, and that's it, I promise. I love to talk as much. You're a great guest, and I really appreciate you coming on again today.
No problems. Do tell me if I talk too much. Do not be offended if you tell me to shut up. I swear.
No, you're fine. I'm like that too myself. So I was going to say, do you have any good advice for those, not just myself, but those looking to pursue a career in media, either in TV or radio?
Closed mouths don't get fed. Ask for anything and every opportunity if you want to ask for it. If you want the advice of somebody, reach out to them, shoot them an email. Worst I can say is no. And if they say no, okay, great. No means next opportunity. Just try it. Just try everything, do everything. I know how to shoot, and that's why I have such an appreciation for photographers. I haven't had to produce a show, a whole entire show, but I have had to feed back multiple elements in the field when things have shut down completely. So I have a respect for producers who have to help make all that happen. And, I would also say, if just get to know anyone, talk to anyone in the business. If you're young and in the business, if you have an internship or something, talk to everyone, and don't just talk to the people who are quote unquote important. And by that I mean the anchors, the reporters, the talent. Talk to the producers, talk to the photographers, talk to the engineers, talk to the person on the digital desk, talk to the person who does the assignment desk, talk to everybody, because they all have different perspectives, and all of them are important in helping make that ship run and not sink. So definitely, absolutely do that. And I'll also just say, take care of yourself. This is a business that has, I read somewhere that journalism has one of the highest rates of burnout for professional careers. Absolutely, no matter what, just take care of yourself. Take a minute, go on a run, color. I color, coloring's fun. Just find ways to make sure you take care of yourself, because you can't do the job if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not doing good. So that's the other thing I would say. So just do everything, ask all the questions, and then make sure you make time for you.
Basically what you're saying is what Kelly said too, and the other guests, basically have a work-life balance.
Yes, absolutely. And they love to, there's this joke, journalists, don't have a work-life balance. Maybe that was true before. But I definitely think if we've learned anything in the pandemic, everyone is going to need a work-life balance. I've seen journalists break down on television. I've seen, I saw a fellow Medill alum, Omar Jimenez, get arrested on live TV, that kind of thing. Those things stick with you. You see those things and they impact you. And especially for me as a woman of color, as a journalist of color, I take my identity with me into the field every day. And especially with all the things we've been covering lately, that impacts me too. So I'm not ashamed to say I see a therapist. That's the mental health. The brain controls everything.
Yeah.
The brain and the heart are 2 of the most important organs in your body. So just make sure all that's taken care of.
Yeah, it helps to talk to somebody too, because keeping stuff in isn't as good as either. And I'll be honest, the last year and a half, this podcast has helped me too, because it's kept me busy and it's kept me doing something that I enjoy, because a lot of stuff, as we has been taken away from us the last year and a half. And this has kind of really kept me going, kept me motivated, and kept me going every day.
I'm glad. I'm very glad that you've had that. And this is great. This is so much fun. So it's like you found not only something to keep you going, but also something to help put a smile on your face and other people's faces. And I'm really glad that you have that.
And I'm just hoping I eventually get an opportunity in radio. I also know about you're going to get some rejection too. So I've had some guests just decline, which is fine. And I just got to keep working hard and keep trying to get better every day.
Absolutely. Hey, before I applied for this job, I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but I think I got 52 rejections from other stations before I got a yes from this job.
Wow. So
I got 32. My last job, before I got my last job, 32 no's. Wow. 32.
So, yeah, so I just have to just keep going on. I was looking at even going back to school for radio, and the person that runs the program didn't even reply back to any of my emails. So one of my friends said, Chris, just keep doing what you're doing. He said, you already got the skill set, you're improving. He says, build your contacts, which I'm building, and just cross my fingers I get an opportunity one day.
Absolutely. Contacts are the bread and butter of this business. The skills are important. The degree is important, I guess. Like, it helps, but nothing makes up for hard skills and contacts, and you're getting those. So you're already like way ahead of where I was when I came out of Northwestern.
And I've already got my own coffee mug. I've got my own podcast T-shirt. So I'm learning to market and brand myself. So let me know if you'd like one of my podcast shirts, and I can send you one.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I probably should take the shirt instead of the mug because I don't need any more mugs in my house.
No, I get about 40 of them, so I don't need any more. But we're just gonna say I'm gonna have to change the name of my show because 30 Minutes Live with CDP. Most of my interviews go about 45 minutes to an hour, but my guests are great. They like talking on here, so I guess that's a good sign.
Yes, I mean, you make it fun. I'm really enjoying myself. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And before I let you go, can you just tell my audience again where they can find you on WGR and the social media?
Sure. Well, if you have a story, I'm always looking for stories. So my email is my first name, Karys, my last name, .belger at WGRZ.com. It is also in my Twitter and in my Instagram bio. So hit me up. My Twitter is at Karys Belger, first name, last name. My Instagram is also at Karys Belger, my first and last name. Keep it real simple. Facebook, I'm at Karys Belger TV.
Okay. And I put it on my graphics too. I like to try to promote my guests as much as I can.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm going to let you go, but I was going to say maybe again in the future, you might be able to come on again in the future.
I would absolutely love to. Absolutely. Let me know. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Definitely. And we'll definitely keep in touch. And I really want to say thank you again so much for coming on here today and talking about your career and how you got started. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I'm really flattered.
Okay. Well, you have a great night and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much again, Karys.
Of course. Of course. You have a great one.
You too. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my interview with Karys Belger. She's on WGR Channel 2 in Buffalo as a reporter, and she does a really good job. And again, if you guys want to get in contact with her, there's her email as well. And you can follow her on Twitter as well, at Karys Belger on Twitter. So if you want to follow her there. But I just want to say, everybody who's watched this live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, thank you so much. And I will download the audio for this after, and you guys can listen to my podcast on later tonight on Google Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and also on Spotify. So, and please hit like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I really appreciate that. So again, Karys, thank you so much for coming on 30 Minutes Live with CDP. And I look forward to having you on again in the future as a guest. So, guys, my next show will be Friday, June 4th. This is my third show of the week. Friday, June 4th at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 Pacific, with Mary Margaret Johnson, sports digital reporter with WIVB Channel 4 in Buffalo. Mary's nice enough to come on and is going to talk about her career as a digital sports reporter with WIVB Channel 4 in Buffalo. So I really appreciate all my guests coming on this week. Kelly Dudsit was great last night. Karys Belger was great, and then I'm looking forward to Mary. So this is an old Buffalo week for me. So anyways, guys, we got a couple of hockey games tonight. We got Montreal and the Jets game 1 tonight at Winnipeg at 7:30, and then we have Vegas at Colorado. Game 2, Avalanche lead the series 1-0 at 10 o'clock tonight. And then basketball, we got the playoffs tonight. We got Washington, Philly game 5. Joel Embiid is not going to be playing. He's got an injury. We got Atlanta, New York game 5. Hawks are up 3-1. Sixers are up 3-1 on the Wizards. Then Utah and Memphis are playing tonight. Utah's up 3-1 in that series, I believe. And then the other game tonight, we got Dallas and the Clippers, which is 2-2. Dallas won the first two at the Staples Center in LA, and then the Clippers won 2 in Dallas. So that series is up for grabs as well. So anyways, guys, I'm going to call it a show, but I just want to say again, thank you, everybody. Karys, thank you for coming on from WGR Channel 2, and everybody watching us on YouTube Live, Facebook, and Twitter. And check out my podcasts on audio as well. So, yeah, again, I'll just put that on here. And anyways, guys, yeah, like I said, my podcasts are on Google, Anchor, Apple Podcast Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. All right, guys, we're gonna have a good night. Enjoy the hockey playoffs. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. We'll see you Friday here at 2:00 Eastern with Mary Margaret Johnson from WIVB Channel 4. Thanks again for watching 30 Minutes Live with CD.